Welcome, listeners, to a night of mystery, suspense, sci-fi, and romance. This is the Two-Timer series Collective, a collection created by D.B. Watson, writer of the Two-Timer series, available on Amazon and Kindle Villa. In this program, you will hear a different tale once a week, read by me, A.J. Carter. If you enjoy any of these stories, please leave a like and a comment. If you'd like a story and want to read more, leave a comment and DB might grant your wish. They would love to hear from you. You can email them at fakesomemight@gmail.com or visit their website and see all their titles. Spoil. Yanni West and Jennifer Martin met while going to law school. They married after graduation, with Yanni taking Jennifer's last name. They had their son Gavin 5 years later. Gavin Martin was an intelligent child who grew to be bored of most things he tried. Sport, academics, and creative arts he excelled in, then he would lose interest. When he graduated high school, he wanted to go to Cargo City and open his own business. Yanni was against it, wanting him to use the scholarship he won to go to college. Gavin lashed out, saying they always denied his wants. Jennifer wanted to support him like she always did for anything he wanted to try. Yanni knew this and had argued with Jennifer about her overindulging Gavin. "We need to be on the same side dealing with Gavin. He needs to focus on his future." "But what if he wants to change his mind?" asked Jennifer. "He always changes his mind. Please, Jennifer, I need you on my side." Jennifer did take her wife's side, and Gavin finished college with a degree in engineering, but instead of taking a position as an apprentice, he continues with his goal of going to Cargo City. The building he wanted's price went up, so he needed a loan. He knew his mother Yanni would protest, but his mother Jennifer was easier to persuade. Gavin returned home, catching up with Jennifer at her firm and asking her out to lunch. Jennifer was so happy to see him, she treated them to a private lunch in her office, where Gavin told her of his plans. "Gavin, you just graduated. Why don't you take a break and think it over?" Jennifer pleaded. "You can go to our beach house with your friends." "Mom, I had 4 years to think it over. I want to do this." "Yes, but Cargo City? What's wrong with it? It's where royalty lives," he said, referring to the Valdez family. "This proves my point that the cost of living is higher, not to mention the property tax. I have all that figured out." "If that's true, why do you need a loan from me?" Gavin stared back at Jennifer with a hurt but resentful gaze, something he did when he knew he was losing an argument. "Fine, go ahead, side with her!" he shouted, jerking back in his chair and crossing his arms. Jennifer knew he meant Yanni. "Gavin." "No, you always take her side, never mine." "Gavin, you know that's not true." "Yes, it is." Gavin dropped his head, seeming to cry. Something else she knew he did to make her cave. "Gavin, this alone." Gavin snapped his head up and locked eyes with her. "I swear I'll pay you back in full, Mom. You'll see once my business takes off." Jennifer knew Yanni will be furious, but after trying so many times to have a baby, and the doctors telling her she was putting her life in jeopardy, when her last chance survived a full term, and she got to hold Gavin in her arms, she swore she'd give him anything he asked. "Let's keep this our secret for now." Gavin rose and rushed into her arms, hugging her. "Thank you, Mom. You won't regret this," he beamed. Jennifer arranged a trip to Cargo City. They took a cab from the airport to a 3-story building with a yellow ribbon across the door. Yanni thought they were going there for a family weekend trip. She was unsure what they were doing there while climbing out of the cab. Jennifer smiled when she turned to them. "Gavin, after completing college as we asked, I wanted to reward you with this." She gestured to the building. Gavin knew the building was his, but played along with his mother. "But it can't be. It went off the market the day I went to college," he lied. "That's because I bought and saved it until you graduated." "What?" both Yanni and Gavin said. "I can't believe this," Gavin cried, hugging Yanni first. "Neither can I," Yanni murmured, thrilled to see her son happy but concerned by Jennifer's behavior. "Mom, thank you." He hugged Jennifer while she looked at Yanni, who stared at her bewildered. "Well, she said, stepping back as she reached into her pocket, removing a set of door keys and handing them to Gavin. Go look around your new home and business. Gavin was lost for words, accepted the keys, glancing at his mother's. He tore the yellow ribbon off, letting it drop to the ground, and unlocked the door, walking inside. Jennifer continued to stare at her wife, who remained still. Yanni, I know what you're going to say, she said, approaching her. You do? Yes. I know I should have included you in this purchase, but there were so many bidders. She chuckled nervously, hoping Yanni didn't notice. Really? Because the building next door is still for sale. True, but this is the building he wanted. Jennifer. Yanni sighed, shaking her head in disbelief. Yanni will be good for him. He can start his own life here and own his own business. How will he pay the mortgage? I thought that through and I paid for the next 2 years so he could save and take over the payments. You what? With what money? I cashed in my IRA. Jennifer, that was our nest egg. It's okay. No, it's not. Yanni turned and started to walk away. Yanni, she said, grabbing her arm. Kevin needs our support. He'll be upset if you don't come inside. Jennifer, I wish you had talked to me first. It'll be okay. You'll see. 2 years later, Jennifer sent Gavin an email warning to cut his funds if he didn't get off the drugs and find a job to pay for his piling bills. She received a call from him that same day. She answered furiously. Gavin, no more excuses. This is your final warning. Mom, I have news, Gavin said, unaffected by her threat. Gavin, are you listening to me? Yes, but first, hear me out. Please, Mom. Okay, go ahead. Guess who I'm seeing? Gavin, I don't have time to. I'll give you a hint. His last name is Valdez. Valdez? Jennifer had remembered reading in the papers. The only son of Raul and Drusilla Valdez had returned home. Gavin, are you telling me the truth? So you're on Mom's side? Gavin said, coldly remembering a heated argument with Yanni over him coming home and finding a job. No, Gavin, this is wonderful. When did it happen? She asked, not wanting to fight. That doesn't matter. What does is Patrick will be helping me with my financial troubles. Soon you won't have to worry about my bills. Patrick Valdez agreed to pay for your expenses? Well, we are practically engaged. Engaged? Kevin, this is wonderful. Yeah, so if you can keep me afloat for a little while longer, you'll have the bragging rights to being the soon-to-be in-laws to the Valdezes. All I ever wanted was your happiness. I am happy. That therapist you got me is doing wonders, he lied. She came highly recommended. Oh, she knows her stuff. Gavin, Mom, I gotta go, so can you send the money to my bank account? Sure, sweetie. Thanks, love ya, bye. He hung up before she was able to respond. That was the last correspondence she had with her son. Months went by. Jennifer spent another late night at her office, avoiding another fight with her wife, who found missing money from their joint account. She got a surprise visit from Yanni, who stood shaken from crying as she held a sheet of paper. Yanni, what's wrong? Jennifer asked, rising from her desk and moving to her wife. This is your fault, Yanni said, widening the gap between them. What? Yanni swallowed several times before she was able to speak. Gavin, our baby. Yanni, don't worry. I talked to his therapist, and she promised he would get better. He won't. He will. No, Jennifer. He won't because he's dead. She gasped. He's dead. Yanni dropped to her knees and sobbed into the paper that had the address to the morgue where Gavin's body lay. The funeral was on a sunny day as they lay Gavin Martin to rest at his family's grave plot back home. Yanni filed for separation. Jennifer stayed with her brother, whose son reminded her of her lost boy. She poured her attention onto her nephew as she tried to cope with the loss of her only child. Thank you for listening. This is a short story by D.B. Watson and read by A.J. Carter. You can find D.B. Watson at her website, twotimers.squarespace.com, and on Amazon.com. If you would like to hire me, AJ Carter, to narrate your project, you can find me on aj.cartervo@gmail.com. Thank you, and see you next week.